Welcome back to Earth Station Trek, a show where we trek from the early days on NBC to the future on Paramount Plus and everywhere in between. I'm Charles Kelstone. It's my privilege to introduce the Earth Station Trek crew. Keith Johnson.
Greetings, carbon-based units.
Alan Seiler.
My browser failed to play their intro clip.
And I've got networking problems. It's going to be a fun night.
And Veronica Dashel.
Hi.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hey. The gang's back together.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We were off last week for Stellar Fest. Had a great time at Stellar Fest.
Yes.
It didn't feel like being off. It felt like being busier.
Yes.
But I'm glad to be back. Yeah. So tonight we're going to be talking about the new Strange New Worlds trailer for season 4, as well as recapping what happened to us at Stellar Fest.
Ooh. All right, let me get a couple of intro messages. Matt says, had a fun Stellar Fest. Still haven't caught up with my sleep yet.
I'm still on my karaoke sleep schedule.
Wayne says, hello, everyone.
What's up, Wayne?
And Bill says, hey, all, I remembered this week.
Hi, Bill.
Glad to have you aboard.
Yeah, totally. All right, Keith, did you have This Week in Trek this week?
I did. Got a couple of things. Let me run through this real quick. 26th of April, 1966. I found this very interesting. I'm sure, Charles, you know this. The first draft was submitted of What Are Little Girls Made Of?
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Of course, what makes it more noteworthy is that this was written by Robert Bloch, the famous author of Psycho. And Veronica, you'll find this interesting. Robert Bloch he wrote What Are Little Girls Made Of? He also wrote Cat's Paw, the so-called Halloween episode, and he wrote Wolf in the Fold. And if you think about those three, they're all kind of horror. They all have this kind of outre, almost supernatural shine to them. And one of the things I found in reading about Robert Bloch is he was a frequent correspondent of H.P. Lovecraft. And they collaborated on a lot of stuff, or at least talked about a lot of stuff. And that's why, if you think about it, in What a Little Girl's Made Of, Ruck talks about the old ones. That's it. Yes. Famous description of some of the creatures from the Lovecraft universe. And also in Cat's Paw, when they were talking about Sylvia and how she wasn't on mission anymore, Korov says the old ones would not like what you're doing here.
Right.
So it's very, very interesting. I don't think any of the shows really rose to what Robert Bloch could do. As a matter of fact, after he wrote his third episode, he became so disillusioned with change in management that he didn't want to write for Star Trek anymore. And evidently, and maybe it's because you're talking television also, but evidently the script for What a Little Girl's Made Of was so bad that Gene Roddenberry grabbed it and had to rewrite it. And that episode was delayed by 2 whole days. Of course, I said I look at your face, Charles.
Yeah, so whose account was that story? Did Gene
probably Gene Roddenberry
grab Robert Bloch's script and rewrite it? Who was telling the tale there?
Yeah. Then he probably tried to monetize it, right?
Right.
Okay, next day. Man, what a fertile time this must have been. The very next day in 1966 was the first draft of Charlie X. One of the best of all, Robert Walker Jr., I guess, son of Robert Walker from Strangers on a Train. And then the very next, let's say a year later, was the first draft of Cat's Paw, when Robert Bloch was basically getting sick of writing for them. And then jumping to 29th of April, 1998, I thought this was relevant simply because of what we have just been looking at on television. That was the Voyager episode Living Witness, with aired on television.
I love
one of the best.
So much.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, Veronica, you might remember that one. That's the one where the doctor.
I do. Yeah.
Remember that? Okay, there you go. All right, great one. That's the copy of the doctor that woke up on a planet 700-800 years in the future in the Delta Quadrant.
Right.
I still wonder where that doctor is, because the last thing in the episode, they said he stayed with them for decades, helping the people get over their war, and then he said he wanted to go home. What happened to that doctor? I just wonder.
He'll make it back for season 3 of Straight.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and 1st of May, 1967, I found this really wild. The first draft was submitted for the episode The Gangsters of Pentathlon.
Oh.
Hey.
Not the Gangsters of Triskelion, but the Gangsters of Pentathlon. I have no idea what that means. I couldn't find the information because Scallion Helios, kind of helium meaning sun, and it was a trinary star system. I don't know. Was there supposed to be 5 suns in the sky or something at first?
Wow.
Interesting name.
I think Triskelion rolls off the tongue a little better.
Yes.
It does, yeah. The games is a pentathlon. When the 1st of May, 1968, the outline was submitted for another really great episode, award-winning, as a matter of fact, The Tholian Web, which was originally named, in essence, Nothing.
Oh.
Which is...
That's a good title.
It is
Yeah.
an awesome title.
That's a really cool title.
Yeah, it actually, I think so too. And then the last one I got, I thought this was really wild. 2nd of May, 1967. Veronica, here we go. Again, first day of filming on Cat's Paw.
Good Lord.
And get this, first working day for Walter Koenig, who joined
Hey.
Star Trek on that day.
Man, we've mentioned Cat's Paw so many times. I think it's October.
Right. That's this week in Trek history.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, we were going to talk a little about the Strange New Worlds season 4 trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Not a deep dive, but just sort of get our thoughts on it. Now,
Yeah.
3 of us had the opportunity to talk about it on our panel at Stellarfest. Alan, though, we haven't heard your thoughts, so I'm curious to hear what you think first.
Yeah.
It's short.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a 1-minute trailer, so there's obviously more trail to come. The most important thing about it is that we now know a start date for the season,
Mm-hmm.
which is super exciting. So now we were able to plan our episodes out for our show based on when we're going to have to talk about their show.
Right.
It's an okay trailer. I mean, it's like I said, it's 1 minute, so there's not a lot of depth that it gets into. It basically shows you a lot of pretty pictures of like planets exploding and dinosaurs. I can't wait for dinosaurs. I love a dinosaur. And, so there's not a lot of like hint about what is coming in season 4.
Yeah.
I mean, we already know a few little things, like the puppet episode and stuff like that, but this really doesn't give us any more insight into what we're going to be expecting as far as like story goes, as far as character beats go, any of that kind of stuff. It's just like a montage of pretty pictures.
Right.
Yeah. No puppets, as Elaine
Yeah.
said.
No puppets.
And it was funny, we were at Stellarfest, and I'm not the guy who doesn't like fun, because I like fun, but at Stellarfest, I actually said I was really grateful that there were no puppets and no singing in it. Not because I have a problem with those, but like Charles has said, I kind of want them to really get back to exploring strange new worlds, and so I loved it. Alan, I agree with you, because if nothing else, these folks know how to make trailers, so that doesn't mean that everything we see is going to be as awesome as it looks. But there is the scene of somebody walking on the ship's hull, with probably magnetic thing, which was so freaking cool. That kind of got me going right there.
Well, and they were doing it in front of a black hole.
yes,
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It
I
looked
did
like there
know-
was it looked like there was
No,
a
go ahead.
little bit of an emphasis in this trailer of showing strange new worlds, of showing alien landscapes. So maybe this season is going to be a little more quote unquote location based.
I
Not
hope so.
location in terms of not being in the studio, but not being on the ship.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm hopeful for that. Now I'm so sorry, Keith. Go right ahead.
Oh, that's okay. The only thing we talked about real briefly was, and I think several people noticed this, you can't help but see the inevitable, because the last serious moment in the trailer ends with Kirk saying, let's go boldly, let's boldly go, or something.
Yeah.
I personally think that should have been Pike, but we already know how this is going. They're really bringing Kirk in. I just hope that Pike doesn't end up becoming, in some ways, an underserved character in his own series. I hope. I don't know.
Well, and the trailer kind of focuses on a voiceover from Pike. So 2/3 of this trailer is a Pike voiceover. You then get a little like bit of dialogue from other characters, and then you get that last shot of Kirk. So it's not like my first impression also was that he felt a bit downplayed in this trailer, but I guess he's really not. I mean, it doesn't really focus on any character at all.
Yeah.
Except when you see that close up of Kirk at the end. And I don't know. We'll have to see.
Pike's been
Right.
kind of downplayed a lot for the entire run of the show, though.
Yes.
So it
Yeah.
would not be surprising.
Well, I think
Yeah.
not necessarily in season 1, although he wasn't as heavy in season 1 as you would expect based on what we saw in Discovery season 2.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's
That's
kind
true.
of been on the wane ever since then.
Yeah.
I
Man.
agree. I think it goes back to I've read again recently. I read some quotes with Akiva Goldsman, and bottom line is he really hoped that they could take Paul Wesley and do year 1 of Kirk in command. That was their goal. Of course, we talked about all the sets and stuff being torn up. So I think sometimes people, I'm crossing the streams real quick here, but the Rings of Power series and Amazon talked about how they felt they had to introduce hobbits and Gandalf or nobody would watch it. I don't agree with that. But they get stuck like that. And I think Akiva honestly feels that if they don't give us Kirk and Uhura and all those people early, we're just not going to watch. And what do you do? You know?
Yep.
And that's a shame too, because if you create a compelling storyline and give us interesting characters that are well developed and that we are going to care about, that's what carries the show. It's not about bringing back nostalgia characters, even though I have liked in most everything that they have done with the legacy characters on this show. But the thing is, give us new characters that we can care about.
Right. Agreed. Well said.
Because otherwise you're just treading the past over and over again, and there's no value in that. You cannot move forward by doing that.
Yeah.
No, I was pleased that there seems to be a lot of space adventure in this one. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
No. I was just rambling.
Yeah, I mean, there's that bit with somebody touching the black hole is intriguing. Like Keith mentioned, someone clinging to the outside of the ship. And then it looks like there's like cowboys and dinosaurs in the same episode.
Oh, the cowboys. That's right. I meant to mention the cowboys. That's exciting.
I'm down with that.
So no, I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Here. And I'm hopeful that they have taken some lessons from season 3 because I don't think anyone was blown away by season 3. It seems like the universal opinion is that season 3 was a step back for the show.
Yeah, agreed.
But I mean, they were already working on season 4 when we all saw season 3 and had our reactions to season 3. So I don't think there's going to be any.
Well, I think that they had seen. I mean, they'd seen season 3 as themselves.
Well,
before they made it. So I mean, hopefully they just arrived at the same conclusions. You know,
right?
But maybe it's an homage to TOS to have a lousy season 3. Yeah, well, I'm just
there you go. Oh boy, that's funny.
All right. Well, do we want to talk about Stellarfest?
Yep. Let's get some comments first, because Mr. Bill says this past weekend he volunteered for RavenCon, which is in Richmond, Virginia, which he has done ever since they started 20 years ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Really cool. Elaine says, "Where were the puppets?"
They'll be there soon enough.
Yeah, they'll be there. Matt says, "The way Keith talks about classic Trek in This Week in Trek, I wonder if a book like The Monkeys Day by Day would be a great project for the original series." I'm sure there is something like that.
Yeah, there's the Mark Cushman's These Are the Voyages, which collects a lot of the Gene Roddenberry papers. The downside, I think, of These Are the Voyages is that Mark Cushman is known to just sort of fancifully create things in between. You know,
really,
whole website's devoted to debunking the things that Mark Cushman has claimed to do.
I didn't know that.
So he's just giving other people creative projects to work on.
Right.
And then Wanda M DS9. Yes. I'm excited for the new season, but I feel this will be the beginning of a long goodbye to Strange New Worlds. Yes, I think you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad about that. And also your handle is amazing because obviously DS9 is the, and I'm just going to say Wanda M. So are you Wanda Maximoff? Hey, could be. Anyway.
So Stellarfest.
Yeah.
Stellarfest.
Yeah. Did you guys have fun?
Sorry. What?
Yeah.
Did you guys have fun?
So much fun.
It was fun, which means Keith didn't like it.
Oh,
no. Kidding.
Yeah, I had a blast. I feel kind of guilty because I don't have to do any of the, like, Charles and Alan were running things and Veronica was running things, and I could just show up and here I am.
Show up and be a star.
Yeah. But it was so I was talking to a friend and I was saying what I really like about it is there are people there who are fit, the so-called stereotypical modes that people do, like the Big Bang Theory kind of folks, and the people who are somewhat socially awkward. And there were some people I saw in shows who wouldn't talk. Like they would just, you probably noticed that too. They're just very shy, socially awkward. The stereotype that people, sci-fi and fantasy, that people get. And then after the show, they'd come up and talk to me for like 10 or 15 minutes. And it was so cool because you realize that I hate to use the term, almost like a safe space. And a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, what you guys said up there, I was just thinking that," but they're not comfortable speaking. And I just love that. I mean, I just love seeing people who may not feel comfortable in other parts of society or are still even in this day and age, sometimes made fun of by people for what they love. And it was just so cool to just see like Star Trek, just different people who are all just hanging out. I had such a good time. There was one guy from Tennessee who caught me in the hall and spent 10, 15 minutes telling me how much he didn't like some of Strange New World. Starfleet Academy. And a lot of attacks on Jaden and stuff. But I think he just needed somebody to talk to. So
yeah.
I had a lot of cool conversations. I had a great time.
Yeah. That's kind of the fun of it for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I spend most of my work days, I'm out in West Georgia around, just being my work self. So just getting back to my people and just being feeling like I'm being more authentic to myself is just a nice way to spend a weekend, people who have common interests and common values,
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you, Veronica? Did you have a good weekend?
Oh yes, I had a lot of fun. We filmed the fan film. We've already looked at some of the footage, and it looks really good. And she's already editing it, and I'm very, very excited about that. We had a really great turnout for the karaoke party again. It was a little slow getting started. Last year, there was like people packed in there at the beginning. They kind of trickled in a little bit more this time. But I think there was more evening stuff going on this year than there was last year.
Yeah, I think you're right about
that. There were some more options because last year it was literally just us and the dance, and that was it.
And our thing just goes.
Yes.
Right. So if you're going to do two things, do the other thing first and then come to ours.
Right.
Yeah.
So why don't y'all go ahead and talk about the fan film? Because that's a big part of your weekend. And the one bit of it that I saw looked like it was going really well until I stepped in.
Alan jumped into a shot. It was right at the very end.
I didn't mean to.
No, we led the Be Part of a Star Trek Fan Film workshop again this year. Now, last year, my friend Randy Landers of Potemkin Pictures came down from Virginia or Kentucky to direct it, and he's done over 100 fan films, so that was great. And Bobby Nash, who's a friend of ours, an award-winning writer, wrote the script for it. This year, Randy wasn't going to be able to come because he had a shoot lined up the same weekend. So we just did it anyway, and we led it, and I directed it. So that was a little more nerve wracking for me because that's not something that I've done 100 times. Like I'm familiar with how, but I was really concerned about just the compressed timeline of, I've got 2 hours. We started at 8 a.m. because the convention really opened at 10. But the later into the morning you go, sort of the louder the convention's going to get. So recording dialogue was my first priority of recording every single line of dialogue that we needed to record with the participants. And then Veronica was starring in it, and Elaine was starring in it. And I knew that I had access to them after the convention, if need be. And so I recorded all their stuff last. So if we ran out of time, we could reconvene, And so I had a very sort of all the shots sort of structured to get everything that I needed in, and we actually ran ahead of schedule, which was nice.
Almost an hour early, so
which
gave us plenty of time to reset the room because we had basically taken all the chairs down.
Right,
we taken the posters off the walls.
Right, because I got there Friday, down. And someone had very nicely put up Star Trek posters everywhere, and I'm supposed to be filming a fan film in here tomorrow, so I had to take all the posters down or along the wall because you don't want the Star Trek customizable card game poster on the wall of this alien planet, but no, it went really well. I was very pleased with it. It was sort of nerve-wracking, but I think the footage and even the audio is coming out very well. I've been going through it since we got back.
Yeah,
that's really awesome. This is like a whole new creative outlet for you, Chuck. I mean, you've done writing yourself. I mean, I know Bobby Nash wrote this script, but you write all the your puppet scripts, and you've written some other things too. So now
Right.
you're into directing.
Yeah, and on a human scale, because I've read quite a bit of puppet stuff, or
Yeah.
a bit of puppet stuff. But yeah, directing human beings is actually kind of nice. They stand up on their own, they move their own arms.
But they also talk back and get things wrong.
The puppets talk back and get things wrong too. So
And don't stand up straight.
True.
yeah, if I turn around for a minute, all the actors don't fall over. So that part's kind of nice. It's a lot easier.
That's funny.
Oh.
Okay, let me get 3 comments from Elaine.
Okay.
She says, I had a great time. One of my panels amazed me with the audience turnout, and I wore cosplay for the first time ever. That's
Yay!
cool. She says, it was like coming home. Some folks from Hulanta days and all the folks from Atlanta Gallifreyans. Yes. And she says, Chuck, you did a great job directing.
Well, thank you, Elaine. I appreciate that.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
So were you director and also director of photography at the same time because of
Yeah,
the scale?
Yeah.
Yeah, our friend Derek Miner came and helped out
Mhm.
as well. Just like he gave me an extra set of hands, and it was very, very helpful to have him there as well.
Yes.
But yeah, it's very. I mean, it was very run and gun, just no crew, just
Mhm.
trying to keep the camera in focus, keep lights on everybody, and keep everybody close to a mic. You know.
Right.
And luckily, I had
Wow.
all my podcast gear there for the
Uh-huh.
panels and things, and so I had everyone read their dialogue into the podcast microphones first. So for one, they had a chance to say it out loud, but also we had a
Okay.
chance to just get a line perfect, as crisp as possible audio of everything,
Yeah, where they could like
Mhm.
literally just
Yeah.
read it off the script.
right before trying
Okay.
it with my filming mic.
So you actually did ADR before any filming, which is
That's
a little bit backwards,
That's right.
but that's a smart move.
Ah,
So Veronica, since you were on the other side of the camera, why don't you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the actual filming, about the acting part of this whole project?
Yeah, so I've been in several fan films before. This is the 4th one with this character. 5th one with this character?
Maybe.
I don't know. Yes. Anyway, so I was fairly familiar with the character and kind of her personality as me, but a little bit more like go get him a little bit more than I am.
You're pretty go get 'em, I will say.
She's more forceful, maybe.
Okay.
More outspoken than I am tend to be. So it was fairly easy to play her. I did not do a good job of memorizing my lines. So Chuck was talking about how Derek was helping out and holding lights and whatnot. There is this one chunk of dialogue that I could not get out, and I was tripping over my tongue. And so Derek ended up folding the script and holding it up because I was supposed to be looking up anyway, and like holding it way up where I was supposed to be looking, and I could just barely read it. But it looked like I was talking to whoever was up there because I was just looking at the script and reading it. So
Amazing.
That
That's
looks
fantastic.
awesome. And it's a lot of fun, and I feel like I can say I'm pretty good at like reading the line and then be able to act it out and be in a character. A lot of people just like read the line and then kind of just like deadpan, and they don't put any like feeling into it. So I felt like I was good at that. And I really enjoyed watching all the extras, especially like watching back later. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't catch that they were doing that, but a couple of them like put some character into their stuff.
Yeah, the ladies that turned up who to be in it were wonderful. When Bobby wrote it, we don't know who's going to show up. But it turned out to be an all-female cast, which was just the happenstance of who showed up. But they were all wonderful, and they brought one of them had several of them had their own costumes, and one of them had a replica of, I think it was the costume
I think it was Chapel.
that Chapel wore in the you remember when they were
Space
doing
Adventure.
the 1950s Space Adventure Hour version of
Yeah.
the world? She had
Yeah.
her replica of that costume, so that's what she has on in it.
Nice.
Nice.
We had some costumes that we had brought for folks who didn't have their own costume, but
Oh,
no,
that's
it was just
cool.
they were just a wonderful group, and they did a great job.
Oh,
So-
what was the general plot of the story?
Well, I don't want to get too much into it now,
Yeah.
but we'll tease more of it as it comes along.
Okay.
But Veronica said something about watching the footage back.
Mhm.
Speaking of watching back, you did a screening of last year's fan film that was filmed at Stellarfest. So how did that go, and how did the audience react to it?
Really great.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think people came with the right expectations, and we sort of told them up front. I mean, this is we filmed this at the convention. It's run and
Yeah.
gun. It's fan filmmaking. you know, we're not replicating Citizen Kane here. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be shots that are out of focus. There's going to be little like you know, wall outlets to get into the shot, things like that. So I think people had the right expectations for it and just sort of had a good time watching it and talking about it.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Not everyone on YouTube can be as kind. So the folks who to watch it at the convention, I think we're on the same page.
You know, people on YouTube also see the Farragut projects and the Potemkins and things like that. So they have a different expectation than the people who walk into your track room.
Right.
You know, that you can interface with.
Right.
So speaking of interfacing, I want to transition just a tad here. Chuck and Keith, you had the opportunity to interview a pretty cool guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to interview Sean Kinney, who played Fleet Captain Christopher Pike in the Menagerie, who actually was the first Pike ever seen on screen in broadcast order. But and yeah, he was a very nice, very cool guy, and I was very happy to have Keith there.
Thanks. I enjoyed it. Thanks for asking. Yeah, we interviewed him 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. He's 82 years old, I think, something like that. Just very energetic. He still has a very, very youthful manner about him. You know, very engaged, really fun guy. Seems to have a great attitude. Loves to laugh. He laughed about the fact that he said his brother, I don't know if his brother is still with us, he said his brother looked more like Jeffrey Hunter than he did. But Gene Roddenberry told him that he looked so much like Jeffrey Hunter, that's why he wanted to hire him. And one of the things I thought was funny is Gene Roddenberry basically asked him if he had any kind of acting experience. And by that time, he'd been acting for 2 years, I think a lot of stage work. Although what he really wanted was somebody who looked like Jeffrey Hunter, but who could also act. And I think it's so funny sometimes how you always talk about preparation. You don't know what it does for you. If he had no acting, who knows? Maybe he wouldn't have gotten him. So I thought that was pretty cool. He told some really fascinating stories. Like, remember one time, Charles, he was saying that because of what he was in a chair. He couldn't move. He couldn't speak. Couldn't even move his shoulders. So he said every now and then they didn't need him, that he would just like be in a corner or whatever. And people would just kind of ignore him like he was the part of the furniture or something. Yeah. I thought was great.
The guys who in the early days who were Dalek operators on Doctor Who said the same thing.
Oh, really?
They would just get parked in the corner and people forget that there were actual people in those things.
And also he mentioned that the lights and the actual motorized action.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say something else. Go right ahead. There was one part of their interview they wanted me to take out before I post
okay. Yo,
I was thinking you weren't talking about. I don't want to tell you because I'm not supposed to put it.
Okay. Can I talk about the chair?
The chair. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Don't talk about any other actor that might have been the star of Star Trek.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. He operated the chair himself. So the little light and the little remote control to turn the chair around and stuff. He had to do all that kind of stuff, as well as, and of course it looks easy. You think all I got to do is sit in the chair. Well, he's in there. He's in 4.5 hours of makeup. Then they put him in the chair, and then they kept saying things like he at one point he was moving his shoulders too much, and he can't turn his head, and all these little things that you think you do. It would be easy. It's not easy. And of course, he couldn't eat anything, so they had to give him something to drink through a straw. So it's really fascinating. I think you said it was 10 days on that shoot. Yeah, 10 days of that.
Yeah. No, I mean,
one beep means yes. 2 beeps means no. 3 beeps means I got to get out of this chair and go pee.
Yeah. And just as a puppeteer, I've been puppeteering for like 13 years now. I mean, imagine if we had to just hold the puppet still.
No.
Holding the puppet is so much harder than moving it because your muscles do not like to do that.
Yep.
Right.
Muscles don't like to hold up the puppet, so I don't know. Much else hold it still.
Right.
All right. Let me get some comments.
Sure.
Bill says, Chuck and Veronica, he suggests that you might need to do a little fundraiser for portable CSO screens you can put up in front of walls and not have to take down posters.
Potentially, but I think the wall that we had was great, and I had some colored lights that I brought to sort of trek it up, you know.
Yes,
so I sort of
the lighting looked great, I will say.
Yeah, I'd sort of planned around there not being Star Trek posters on the wall. So, but no, they were just taped up. They were easy to take down.
Right. Elaine says, "I'll write up cue cards for you next year if you want."
Yeah, I was thinking that might be easier because the volunteers don't have the opportunity to review the script before, so I think that might be helpful.
Absolutely. Matt says Stellarfest has so many friends attend that it feels like a family reunion.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Agreed. Elaine says, and I think most of the cast for this year was at the Recess panel.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know what that means. What is that?
Recess was the film we made last year.
Mm-hmm.
And she's
gotcha.
saying a lot of the folks that came to that panel, or a lot of the same folks came to the filming the next day.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Bill says, so many fan films. I have no idea how to find and watch them. Is there a site with a master list and links?
Yeah, go to
Interesting
Star Trek
question.
Reviewed. There's the website called Star Trek Reviewed that was started by a lady named Barbara Reeder, who's passed away since, but she has a huge archive that is still going of links to fan films and descriptions and things like that. But if you're on YouTube, go to I would start with Potemkin Pictures, which is my friend Landy's group, and it's Potemkin 1711 is the YouTube channel. And those are true fan films. It's not like it looks like an episode of the show. It's more like it looks like my buddy's got a Star Trek bridge in his basement, and we're gonna make it a little Star Trek movie. But I love those kind of fan films.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then Dax Laurie waves hello.
Yay.
Hello.
Or does the Vulcan thingy, but I'm taking it as a hello.
Yeah, we did it back.
All right. So how about we take a little break before we get into more stuff, because we are right at the halfway point. So
Yeah, let's do it.
we'll be right back in 30 seconds, everybody. Don't go anywhere.
And we're back.
We're back.
We're back. Well, how are things going in the Doctor Who track? We got to speak a few times, but we didn't really get to cross the streams much this weekend.
We really didn't.
Yeah.
Not as much as last year. And even last year, we didn't that much. But I did at least get to do one panel with all four of us last year. I didn't get to do any of your panels this year. We didn't have as well. There's a couple of things. One, we didn't have, I don't think, as many people sign up to be panelists. So Josh and Ashley and I ended up doing a lot. So I didn't really get a whole lot of time outside of our track, which was fine, because, what that means is that I get to sit in my room and talk about my favorite show for an entire weekend, and people come and hear what I have to say. And that's, that's pretty good. But I think every one of our panels was really well attended, especially the Saturday morning panels. We started with a discussion about the missing episodes at 10 o'clock, and then at 11 o'clock we screened the two brand new, first time seen since 1965 episodes of the Dalek Master Plan, parts 1 and 3, and we had a good crowd for that. And most everybody had not watched the episodes yet. They had been out for, I guess, 2 weeks prior to the con, and there wasn't anything said ahead of time that they were going to be released in America. They ended up being uploaded onto the official Doctor Who YouTube channel. So I didn't know that anybody would have an opportunity to see them. So once they were released on YouTube, I thought, we'll still screen them, but everybody will have watched them by then. I would say at least 2/3 of the room, maybe 3/4, had not watched them yet. And some of them intentionally saved it for seeing it at the con with other people. And it was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yes. And everything, we had a little bit more in the way of like game shows and interactive things like that. And those were all really well attended. So a couple of those we're going to continue on next year. My schedule was weird because I got stuck at work on Friday and I didn't get to the con until like 5:30. So I missed the first two panels, and that was fine.
Yeah.
But, other than that, I think everything went really well.
Good.
Yeah.
How did those lost? How did the crowd react to those? Loved them.
Really, really well.
Cool.
First of all, they're very good episodes, and they're Doctor Who does lots of different genres. It can be a West, and especially in the William Hartnell era, it can be a Western one week, or it can be horror, or it can be a historical comedy or whatever. But this Dalek Master Plan is a big, long, epic space opera. It very much like in the, the Buster Crabbe kind of tradition, those kind of like Saturday morning theatrical serials. It's that kind of, and man, it's so much fun. And yeah, people really loved them.
Good.
Nice.
That's kind of nice. It's not like we have lost episodes of Star Trek we can review. So that's pretty neat.
We have a few we wouldn't mind losing.
Shame on you.
Well, Veronica, how did you like the Gold Key Comics reading?
Ooh.
So there was more performers than audience.
Yeah,
this
but
year.
Okay, though.
Yeah.
A lot of people came and got to participate.
Yes.
So I mean, the cast was probably like, what, 10, 11 people?
Yeah, there was like a lot of people in the cast.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we had a very large cast.
Mhm.
And I think everyone had a lot of fun, and we were cracking up throughout both of them. So with the way that people were reading and with just the lines in some of them. So it was a lot of fun. I'm hoping to do something different next year, and hopefully so it'll draw people in, because I feel like at least a couple people had asked if we were doing the same ones as last year and decided to nope out.
Or just prioritize their time and
Right.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
If you've already seen this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did the same 2 comics that we read last year, but with a new cast, largely new cast. But yeah, I think next year we're going to do a couple of different comics. We're going to select them over the course of the next year. So it should be fun.
Yeah.
It was so funny. Mike Gordon was Captain Kirk, and he would say, "Spock, I need you to do this." And the way he read it was funny.
Yeah.
And those Gold Key comics they're so hilarious. There were so many things about suffering suns or jumping galaxies, and then of course it's a comic book, but everything Spock said even ended in an exclamation point. So a lot of times we were just laughing because of that. And then tripping over when they basically decimated that entire planet. And Spock was the one who's like, we got to destroy this whole planet and kill everything on it. It was great.
Everyone was cracking up.
Total destruction.
I am so jealous of the idea of you doing that dramatic reading of Gold Key comics, because Doctor Who has that sort of Gold Key equivalent of way back in the 60s of this sort of like Dalek Empire continuing comic strip. And I love those things so much. And doing a presentation of that would be really fun. But I'm not going to steal your idea.
Do it.
No, I'm not doing it. I'll come up with something else. We'll do, I tell you what, we'll do dramatic readings we'll do like live Big Finish episodes.
There you go.
There you go. That's nice. Yeah. For somebody like me who grew up as a child listening to real radio plays, it's always fun to do something like that too.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, and I think the fun thing about a convention like Stellarfest is it's less about guests and things,
Yes.
and more about being able to get hands-on and have experiences. Like there's a lot of that are just panels, but then there's a lot of interactive things that you can go do. And so that's, I mean, I'm thrilled that we were able to give people the opportunity to be in a little film. We give people the opportunity to get up on stage and perform as these characters and do the reading. Like, I think that's really fun, and it's a really cool part of these smaller conventions is that you have you can come away with an experience of, there's people I don't know how many people have told me have come up to me after the fan film panel and said, "Oh, I've always wanted to do something like that."
That's so cool.
That's
hadn't had the
nice.
opportunity,
That's nice.
to get the costume on and in front of the camera and the lights and say their line.
Yeah. Even with the Gold Key comics, like I was like the week before, I was like, I don't have a cast for this. I need to reach out to people. And I got the main cast, and I got all the parts filled. I got like one person Thursday night, and I got one person Friday night at the convention. They were like, "Oh, you're doing this Gold Key comic reading? I'll do parts." So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we had a guy reading the Janice lines, because I was gonna be Janice if we didn't have anyone else, because it was mostly males in the cast.
Yeah.
But we had a male that he was the one at the convention, David Whitehead, and so the Janice spot was open in the first one, and there was no other spot characters in the first one. So I was like, "Well, you're gonna play Janice," and he did not read it like Janice. He just read it straight. And it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was great.
Elaine had already commented.
Yes.
David's reading of Janice was hysterical.
Yes, that was fun.
Yes.
And we had a female Spock.
We did have a female Spock. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Elaine did
right.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Which reminds me, jumping back to our earlier conversation about the trailer, we have a new woman Vulcan character.
That's true.
Yeah.
That we see at the end of the trailer that I completely forgot to mention, but I had intended to because I'm excited about that.
The one Scotty was saying something to her about being down or something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Make sure I have heat and oxygen.
That's it.
Bill commented and just wanted you to put the link to that thing in his, as a comment to his thing.
Sure.
Matt says, the first year at Stellar Fest, I felt I was in too many panels, so I backed off a bit this year. But this year, I felt like I would have liked to have done a few more. Yeah, it's all about finding that happy balance.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Elaine says, Matt had all those jumping, suffering lines.
Yeah.
Matt then says Matt says that there was 100% more genocide in those Gold Key stories than in the original series.
That's for sure.
And he also says there were some stories in those old Doctor Who 60s annuals in which the Doctor would be horrified by the horrible aliens. Wayne says, Bunny, you should bring this up. I'm finally finishing up the setup for an audio DAW just to put my short stories to audio. Very cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
And Bill says, as long as it's okay to talk Doctor Who, am I the only one who wishes Big Finish would be a subscription for less per month than cost for one audio? I love their work, but too pricey for me. Yeah, understood. They have a lot of actors that they have to pay, and they do really excellent work on editing and sound design and music, and all those people have to be paid too. So, I get that it's expensive. And, they don't sell to a wide release kind of thing. They're not like backed by Simon and Schuster or, any of those kind of big publishers. So they're still basically an indie company. Mm-hmm. So, I totally understand where you're coming from. I get it.
Yeah. Big Finish is wonderful work. I had to cut myself off years back.
Yeah.
Because I can't send my whole paycheck to Big Finish every month. Trying to keep up with everything.
They would appreciate it if you did, though.
I'm sure.
What I will say is occasionally Audible will do like bundle sets.
Yeah.
Which is for us the best way, and I'll just keep an eye out those, and I'll like save them in, and I'll get a notification. Hey, this one you saved is on sale.
Or if you have Spotify, there's a lot of Big Finish on Spotify.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can find them in places.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One of the other things I really enjoyed is Chuck and I also did we did a panel on what was the many loves of Miss. Well,
Chuck, you say Chuck and I. I dropped.
Yeah, you didn't do that. Yeah, that's what. Originally, yeah.
That was the panel that I had. I had to tell Chris we had to cut off the panelists. People kept wanting to be on that panel, and then the day of, I mean, there's five panelists, including myself. And all experienced people. It's like you and Tony Bowers.
Yeah.
And a lady who I'm sorry, I'm blanking her name, but she's like a novelist, and Buck Melton and me. And there's not enough seats. And I was like, you guys don't need me for this. Like, I'm going to get out of the way. You guys.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to just drop a panel on you 2 minutes before it started. But I mean, he picked up the ball and ran with it. And people were over the moon about that panel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before you mentioned his name, Tony Bowers dropped in our chat and says, Yay! Getting to be on the Many Loves of Spock panel was a highlight of the con for me. Thanks for checking in tonight, Tony.
Yeah.
And it's very good to see you this weekend. I always love seeing you at cons.
Yeah.
All the
that was really fun.
The panelists all gave me permission to post the audio of it. So I've got audio files of a lot of these panels that I'm going to be putting on our podcast stream. So if you don't follow our audio podcast, check out the audio podcast. There'll be some of those audios coming through. But no, you guys did fantastic. I think the audience was very well engaged, and the audience was bringing great points that you guys hadn't considered. And
absolutely,
I thought it was a great back and forth. I thought it was a wonderful panel.
Yeah, a couple.
You were telling me some of the things that were talked about on that panel that surprised you that people brought up as a love of Spock.
Yeah, I went in super narrowly focused, thinking about Layla and T'Pring and stuff like that. And then people mentioned, of course, they mentioned Kirk. They mentioned the crew. They mentioned the ship as a love of his duty as a love of his mother. I didn't even think about some of these things. I was literally just thinking about romantic Spock. And so there were great discussions about that, I thought.
Right.
We even went into the Kelvin universe.
Yeah, I love it when you have an idea of what a panel is going to be going into it, and then the audience comes or other panelists come and bring whole dimensions to it that you didn't even think of. So I think that's really cool.
Sometimes we had one that went the other way.
Correct.
It was not as much fun as I thought it was going to be going in. Because last year we did a 9:00 Friday panel, this weapons did it, and a bunch of drunk people showed up but we're in a fun way, and it was a very sort of fun, rowdy panel. So I thought, well, maybe we'll just lean into that, and we'll do sort of a rowdy panel this year. And Veronica and I had done the Sex and Star Trek podcast one day when you guys were out unexpectedly, and that was a lot of fun. It's like, well, we'll just do something like that, and just have sort of a late night fun talk about Sex and Star Trek. And I'm thinking, like, what if you turned into a salamander and did it with your boss? You know what I mean? Like, but the audience was very like, wanted to have a serious discussion about the portrayal of sex in Star Trek. And oh no.
Oh, really?
But I was not prepared for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, I couldn't remember anything that I had said before. And
Veronica didn't say a word the entire hour.
I don't know what happened. Like, they were even trying to like engage it. I'm like, I don't have anything to say. Oh, sorry. I don't know what's going on. My brain just like was. I had no words. Their words were gone.
So you were thinking lighthearted, and they were thinking more serious, huh?
And there's one lady in particular who sort of mean mugged me the whole time, and I don't know. That panel did not go the way that I thought it was going to go, and I was happy to escape. I hit warp 10 as soon as that thing was over.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's one thing I do love about the Stellar Fest is, obviously you compare it to, for us here, you compare it to Dragon Con. And it's so cool to be able to just drive there and park the car and just walk in. And like after Sean Kinney finished with our panel, he went over. I guess he went over to the dealer's room to sell books. And it was kind of cool because I saw him and his wife. She's a really sweet lady, and he doesn't have to walk that far. And they didn't have to worry about navigating a whole bunch of fans and stuff like that. And they went in there, and he went, and it was nice. You could just walk up and talk to them. And I know sometimes, because I think they've said he's been on ships and all kinds of stuff, and I'm sure sometimes it's just nice to come to a little intimate affair like that.
Yeah.
And I should be said, like the convention is at a nice location. Like you said, the parking is very easy. There's restaurants all around it. You can walk over to restaurants and back, which is very nice. Just the convenience of not even having to move your car. You can just walk over and come right back.
It was funny. I went to dealer's room to get a copy of Sean Kinney's book and get an autographed picture. And then I see Mark Maddox sitting there. I'm like, crap. Yeah. And so last year I bought the picture of Spock. That he's got this awesome black and white ink drawing of Spock holding the season 1 hand laser with the jacket, the cool jacket they wore in the original series pilot. So this year I got there's one he drew of Kirk with the phaser rifle and Enterprise in the background. So it's a perfect match set. I just absolutely love those.
That's very cool.
Veronica wanted to do some show and tell of the stuff that we got in the dealer's room.
Yeah.
All right.
I went into the dealer's room purely just to look around and see who was in there. And I was like, I'm not going to spend any money. But right next to one of the doors.
First table.
First table. There's a giant table filled with Star Trek toys, including an Enterprise telephone.
I saw that. I was like,
oh, that's great.
I was thinking, I wonder if anybody's going to buy that this weekend.
Yes.
So yes. The answer is
there's little numbers on here to dial it, and then the speaker and the headphones. Oh, it was so
I wanted one in the 90s. I saw it in the magazine. I never had one.
It still has the cord.
It was very reasonably priced.
It still has the cord.
Now I got to figure out how to adapt it to my computer so I can do the podcast on it.
Yes.
And then they also had a shuttlecraft CD holder.
Oh my gosh, that's so
nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that a TNG shuttle?
Yeah.
Magellan. Oh, that's beautiful.
Magellan.
For those of us who still have physical media.
I can feel it with Star Trek CDs.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there was also a box of tapes, like sealed VHS tapes, and he was like, "Make me an offer," and so I did, and bought the whole box of tapes.
Oh wow!
And we limited ourselves to 4 Playmates figurines.
Okay.
And I only shopped at that one table.
You didn't go past there. We went to Sean Kinney's table at some point, but that was it.
That's true.
was
not
Yeah,
quite the same.
but that guy had a lot of really cool stuff.
yeah, he did.
Like ship models and things like that.
Mhm.
Oh, he had such great stuff.
Reasonably priced stuff, like
Yeah,
20
yeah,
bucks,
yeah.
not
Right.
$400. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of not the dealer's room necessarily, but because I didn't get a chance to do much over there. I was in my track room. I sold a lot of books.
Yay!
The key is release brand new Doctor Who books a month or so before you do a Doctor Who convention. And I made bank.
Nice.
Thank you so much to
That
all the
is
people who
cool.
bought copies at the con. I was very, very happy.
Good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We even
Anyway.
sold one of our Earth Station Trek books, so that was exciting.
Elaine says, I got a Trip Tucker action figure from that same table.
Nice.
Matt says, I purchased a print, not the original, of Alan Carter. Yes. And an eagle from Space 1999 done by Mark Maddox. Oh my gosh, I love that show
the
so
Eagles.
much.
Yeah.
And Matt says that that Elaine got a figure of Trip. Oh, well, we already knew that.
Yes.
She already told us.
So she's a fan of Trip Tucker, I guess.
And Bill says, congratulations, Alan. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen next year since I will not have a new Doctor Who book out right before the con.
There's time.
I've got other things in the works.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
I do have another Doctor Who book that will be coming out, but it's timed to sort of dovetail with the documentary that I'm working on. So as soon as the documentary comes out, the book comes out too.
Okay. When's the documentary coming out?
Good question. Maybe I'll come up with an answer at some point.
Okay, just curious.
Yep. We were going to get last year. We were going to film a segment with Moxie.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen because Brandon, my co-conspirator on this whole documentary thing, and the cameraman was sick, like deathly sick, and could not come to the con.
Okay.
So a year later, we're like, we're going to get Moxie. That's like my priority. I'm going to get this bit with Moxie, and it did not happen again. So we're going to figure out a different way to do it. And now that that's, more or less dealt with, I've only got a couple of things that I need to get, and then all the filming will be done, and we're going to start putting together the pieces pretty soon.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, what are we missing? What else did we do? Oh, we talked about the karaoke party.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that went late, right?
Yeah.
It went late. Veronica tried to shut it down at 1, and
I was tired.
I'll bet.
And I was ready to keep going, so we ended up there until 2:30.
No, thank you.
Okay, so
By
they
the
got
end-
me in there because someone sang Eye to Eye from a Goofy movie, and I was outside the track room, like literally like draped over the bench that was out there, like almost passed out. And I heard that, and I went back in there and started jamming, and then we all started, and then basically everyone except for us and the Sweatmen and Derek had left, and so we just started playing monkey songs, and we just sang monkey songs for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, by the end it was just us singing monkey songs.
I would, you know what? I am not about the super late nights anymore. I have gotten old. I'm so sorry to say, but hanging out with you guys and singing monkey songs would have been so fun. And I kind of wish I had done that.
Okay.
Let's see. Matt says, I hope that you'll be screening the Who Lanta documentary at Stellar Fest. Well, that depends. Whenever it's done, we're going to have a sort of like a quote unquote premiere screening somewhere in Atlanta. I've got a location picked out for that. And then if that happens before, so whatever the Stellar Fest is after that happens, yes, we'll definitely screen it. And Bill says, Moxie, do you mean Penn Jillette's daughter? No, we have a drag queen that comes to all the local Atlanta conventions, and her character is Lieutenant Moxie Magnus, who is the chief of Salon Bay. She's the chief cosmetologist on the Enterprise. Hilarious. Let's see. Matt says, monkeying around took over the karaoke party. Elaine says, I am old too, but that is my one exception. Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
And to carry on with the monkeys, Bill says, I loved watching the monkeys on Saturday mornings in the 60s. Couldn't possibly remember the songs.
Yeah. Saturday was a pretty incredible day at
Yeah.
the convention. I mean, we had the Star Trek track room going from 7:30 a.m.
Yeah.
until 2:30 a.m.
No, thank you.
And we were rocking the whole time. It was making a short film and doing doing panels, interviewing Captain Pike, doing the Gold Key Comics reading, hosting karaoke, and I wore my Ferengi costume and head the entire time until the end.
We did Star Trek Jeopardy with Nick and Leo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We stepped out to get our
Yes,
stuff
that
ready.
was when
Yeah.
we were able to like actually leave the track room.
That's true, but they do a wonderful job
Yes,
hosting that stuff.
we were not worried about leaving alone there.
And then I stayed in with the Subspace Rhapsody sing along, and
Yep.
man, those
Sing-along.
songs are hard to sing. Honestly, they're very difficult.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, especially if you're trying to keep up with the singers who are on the show.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, they're densely written songs.
Yeah. But no, it was a
Yeah.
That was
tiring
actually
day.
fun.
I'm still recovering, and I brought home some kind of con crud, so I've been
Oh,
useless
no.
all week. But it was a wonderful time. So if you've never
That's
been to
awesome.
Stellarfest, come to Stellarfest.
Mhm.
Yes, please
Yeah.
come next year because we've got things already planned for next year.
Mm-hmm.
So in my track, we're not going to do Gold Key comics or anything like that, but we have come up with a very cool idea that I am very excited about doing next year. And we talked a little bit about it at the last panel, and people were like they're already bought into it. So
Nice.
I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
Awesome.
Let's
Oh,
see.
one of the Star Trek panels. Okay, go ahead. Elaine.
Elaine says we already have a Trek panel in the works for next year.
Great.
Yeah.
Nice.
One of the Star Trek panels that I did with a couple of folks that was like my submission was theater in Star Trek, and I don't think we got past like talking about 2 episodes, and we didn't even get to talk about how a lot of the actors came from theater or ended up doing theater afterwards and all that kind of stuff. So at the end of it, we're like, oh, we're done. We didn't talk about an eighth of what we wanted to talk about. Part 2 next year. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Was that theater as in theater in the series, like when they would do plays, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So before the con, I asked you if you were planning to talk about frame of mind. Did you?
Yeah,
It did come up, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I think so.
Mhm.
Okay.
Which one was Frame of Mind?
This one with Riker.
That
Oh,
crazy one when he's in the
Yes.
asylum.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was one of the ones we didn't really get to dive into, but we did discuss it.
Ooh, man. I
It
could
was
do a whole
briefly
panel
mentioned.
about that episode. It's so good.
Yeah, theater in Star Trek. I always remember, of course, the beginning of The Conscience of the King, the whole is that Macbeth?
Yeah.
That's the one we started with. That
Of
was
course.
Yeah.
Of
Such
course.
It
a
was the
good
first one. So
Which
you
I
Yeah.
appreciate more than the panelists did. but it wasn't my panel. I didn't say a word.
Yeah. We also had the last one, I guess, of the day on Sunday was really nice, was the whole future of Star Trek.
Mhm.
And that actually elicited quite a bit of discussion, given that we were, sets are torn down. We don't know what's happening. Ellison purchased this and that. That was a really good conversation about what's next for Star Trek, I thought.
We did sort of the same panel in my track too. The only difference is that you guys, us guys, have things that we know are coming. We have 2 more seasons of Strange New Worlds, and we have 1 more season of Starfleet Academy. The only thing that us Doctor Who people have is we've been told that there is a Christmas special coming this year. And it has not even been started filming yet. So I don't know what the hell is happening with that. But outside of that one Christmas episode, we have 0 idea about anything that's happening. And that's kind of the same for the track is that other than those planned things, we have no idea where anything is going to go beyond this point.
Right.
I didn't know that about Dr.
Yeah.
Who.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
They're not trying to give it a rest, are they?
Well, I don't know.
That's too deep a conversation for 8:59.
Yeah, exactly. Join me on my other podcast, Doctor Who A to Z. And we might talk about it there.
Well, speaking of which, Alan, where can people find more of you?
CosmicCreative.com, KOZMIC creative.com, where you can look up information about my 2 newest books, which is the Time Flight series, the 2-volume set. You can look at my other podcast, which is other 2 podcasts, Modern Musicology and Doctor Who A to Z. And all the other good stuff that I get involved in.
Awesome. And how about you, Keith?
You can find me on Facebook, primarily the ESO Network Facebook groups.
And how about us, Veronica?
Feltnerdy.com.
And
Oh, I want to say something about Felt Nerdy first.
oh, please do.
Because we have a Star Trek show that we're doing on Saturday
Sure.
at the Aurora Theater in Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Ooh.
So if you are in the area, come and see it. If you are not in the area, drive in to see it. It is they have very reasonable prices at the Aurora Theater for our puppet show. I don't remember what the prices are, but you're not going to pay like $50 to come see a puppet show.
You can afford a plane ticket if you're not nearby. Fly in to watch our puppet show.
Yeah. But we're doing our Captain Peak, so it's Star Trek related.
Right.
And you can find us on Felt Nerdy across social media as well, and Felt Nerdy and Dirty for the adult content. Definitely 18 plus, probably 21 plus.
Yeah, we had one of our videos unexpectedly got like 400 views while we were at Stellarfest.
Yeah.
I posted it like for a Friday and it had like 7 views. And then I came back and looked and it was 400. And I was like, what is going on? Which that was kind of unexpected. But also, I don't know if I've talked about this on this podcast or not. But, you know, I had mentioned before that we were nominated for and we're applying to the National Puppet Slam. And we were accepted.
Yeah.
So we are
That's
part
amazing.
We found that out just a couple weeks ago. We're going to be part of the National Puppet Slam, which is a big time commitment during Dragon Con. So we've had to shift our plans at Dragon Con. But they are providing us a room at Dragon Con, which is a nice perk.
Yes, it is.
So no, it's just to submit sort of a more serious artistic pieces and get accepted to the National Slam is, you know, a big feather in our cap because we do a lot of goofy, silly, wild stuff on stage, and so it's nice to be recognized in a different way. I think. Yeah.
And
That is
also,
so exciting.
Thank you.
Yes.
Monkeying Around, a podcast about the monkeys.
Yep, where we go live on Wednesday evenings, which we've had a lot of turnout for.
Yeah.
And we're getting a lot of engagement on those episodes. So join us Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube for Monkeying Around.
Once again, last night I forgot. At 6:30, I was like, "Oh man, I can't wait to watch Monkeying Around tonight." And then by 8 o'clock, I was invested in another project, and I completely forgot.
That's how it goes.
And then at 10 o'clock, I was like, "Dang it, I forgot to watch Monkeying Around."
It wasn't another Monkeys podcast, was it? That you were invested in?
Maybe. Oh, no.
Well,
No.
over the next several weeks, we're going to be talking about the Monkeys reunion albums. So next week is Pool It, and then Justice, and then Good Times. So that's what we can look forward to in Monkeying Around next week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I really love Justice. So that's a good one.
Oh, good.
All right. I guess
right.
that's that for us.
Yes.
Thanks.
And the closing is come to Stellarfest next year, April 2nd through 4th, 2027.
Right on. So see everybody next Thursday at 8 p.m.
Bye.
Thanks all.